right, looks like we are live. Give everybody a couple minutes to jump in here. See how many people actually show up at the other time. Looks like I got a couple people in here. Who's joining me right now? You guys can type in the chat. Tell me what you're doing to stay active at home. Zorn! What's going on, Heaven? So I'm, let's see, what are we doing to stay active? We're going for a lot of walks. Definitely a lot of walks. It's, we live in like the woods. I think I've told you guys that before. So we're fortunate. We have a street where there's not a lot of people on the street. So when we go for walks, we don't really have to worry about too many people being out. But for those of you that live in neighborhoods where there's a lot of people, I'm sure it can be a challenge to social distance. So yeah, you're tired. We're all tired. But good news is you get to take a lot of naps, right? Mr. Zord, what's going on, Dejanay? How have you been? Anything exciting going on your end? Catch up on any Netflix shows? Watched Tiger King. I'm sure a lot of you guys have watched that show. It's not really staying active though. That's kind of just sitting there and watching Netflix. So yeah, we'll get started in about 2 more minutes. If anybody wants to type in the chat what you've been doing to stay active at home, feel free. As I said earlier, we're just walking, going for walks, cleaning. My wife is a little crazy with the germs. She's had me go out to get the mail with surgical gloves on and a mask, and I have to like carry it in with the mask or the gloves on, and then take the gloves off, wash my hands. So yeah, I don't know if that's crazy. Ted Bundy. That sounds way more exciting than physics right now. I'm gonna be honest. Have any of you guys watched Tiger King yet? Seen that show on Netflix? It's pretty entertaining. It's like a horrible car accident. You just can't help but watch, but it's so entertaining. I'm not saying that car accidents are entertaining. Don't get me wrong. It's terrible when bad things happen to people, but you know how it is, right? You guys get me? You know how it is? Like you just have to watch kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to. Caesar, I'm so glad you're here. We can get started because Caesar's here. Caesar has pretty much been here every single day. I'm so proud of you. Like, honestly, Caesar, I feel like most days you are in class and you just don't say anything. But here on YouTube, it's a totally different story. You can chat it up. How have you not seen Tiger King? Are you guys being for real right now? Let me show you this. It's like the most exciting thing you could possibly watch on Netflix. Tiger King. It is about this guy right here. He's got a bunch of tigers, and it's about his zoo. It's pretty entertaining. So if you guys haven't watched it, I definitely encourage you to watch it. There's probably some bad words in there and some other stuff, but I think you guys are probably old enough where you could be all right. So I'm not endorsing it as a teacher, but you should probably watch it. It's pretty entertaining. I'm sure you guys are running out of things to watch on Netflix anyway. We should probably do some science. So let me jump into a couple things. So it's Spirit Week, virtual Spirit Week. So today is Crazy Hair Day, And if you saw on Twitter, I don't really want to put it on again because it's pretty itchy. Zorn Science. Let me show you the picture of me this morning. So yeah, this was me this morning. I put on my taekwondo uniform and this wig that I found in our basement. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So I haven't gotten a lot of likes from the other staff members at the school. I don't know if they're just weirded out by it or what, but I did it. So I'm trying to participate. Mr. Hallahan posted a video or posted a picture of him from like high school. Like he has way more hair than me, and he was trying to say, "Well, I don't have enough hair, so I can't participate." Yeah, I feel like that was cheating. So I at least found a wig in the basement. I mean, if he had a cat or a dog, he could have put the cat or dog on his head to say that he had hair or something. You could have been creative with it. You could have taken cotton balls and glued them to your head or something. I don't know. Anyway, tomorrow you're supposed to post something. You're supposed to post something that you've been doing at home. So I've actually already recorded tomorrow's video. So you'll definitely have to check in and see what I posted. It's pretty entertaining. But if you guys have anything that you've been up to that you want to post on Twitter and share with me, that would be awesome. Make sure you tag me at Zorn Science so I can see what you've been up to. Now, Thursday is a very important date because Thursday is the TikTok challenge. I need you to tag me, and I will actually give it a good shot. I will try to copy whatever you do in TikTok as long as it's appropriate, okay? My wife was trying to tell me that you guys are going to do inappropriate things, but yeah, you should have come. Yeah, well, I'm not, obviously I don't have a lot of experience with hair, so I had to work with what I got. So anyway, Thursday, I would really like you guys to challenge me because I'm bored out of my mind and would love to try to do a dance or something exciting. So I don't have TikTok, but you could at least maybe send me the link via email or something. Did I give you guys my phone number? I think I sent that out this morning. Let me give you this for those of you that are here. It's not my personal phone number, don't worry. But I do want you guys to have this phone number. Let's see how I can put it up here. This is a phone number you can call or text. Actually, I think it's on the next screen. Hold on. Give me just a second. All right, I'll just try to think of a good way to actually give you this number. It was in the email that I sent this morning, but if you don't have this number, you can put this in your phone. And if you guys have questions about anything that we're doing, this is a Google Voice number. Oops. So you can use this phone number to get a hold of me. You can text me. If you have questions about school, anything, that number you can reach me at. All right. I don't have an office phone right now. The district is trying to get us numbers, but for the time being, that is a Google Voice number you can reach me at. Okay. So you've got that. I sent it out in the email this morning. Your parents can call me at that number. It works really well. It's pretty cool. So you've got that. What else do I have to tell you? Tomorrow there will be a test posted on the. There will be a test in tomorrow's post. You can take the test anytime you want between now and next week. It's a multiple choice test. You can take it as many times as you want, and I want you guys to take advantage of that, please. All right. I've given you the review guide in 2 parts. We're going to go over the second part today, and I'm going to be reviewing today. And then tomorrow, even though tomorrow I'm giving you guys the test, I'll still do a little bit of review during tomorrow's live stream. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do really well on this. So please take advantage of the multiple attempts. And yeah, so that'll be available tomorrow. If you guys have questions, you got my number now. You can text me from that number. Okay, so let's get into the review for today. And certainly as I'm going through this, if you have any questions that pop up, please feel free to type them in the chat. A lot of teachers have been using something called Zoom to chat with their classes, and I'm actually thinking of possibly doing that as well, so you can see each other, because I don't know about you guys, but I've really missed seeing you guys and interacting with you. This is kind of one way. I mean, we have a chat, but it's not quite the same because I can't see you, so I'm going to look at possibly getting us set up on some sort of maybe a weekly Zoom where we can check in and actually see each other and crack jokes and do TikTok dances and stuff. You can use whatever you want on the test. All right? You can use whatever you want on the test. Your notes, yeah, you can use whatever you want on the test. You can take it as many times as you want. So there's no reason why you shouldn't get an A, if you catch my drift. So let's go through the review here. And if you've got the review, you should do pretty well on the test. So let's go through the review here. I want everybody to do awesome on this test. There's no reason why you shouldn't. Okay, so on the review, let's go through this. I gave you all of the formulas you need up at the top. Let me zoom in a little bit more so we can see better. Okay. So I've given you all the formulas you need at the top this time. Forgot yesterday. You'll have all the formulas you need on the test. Here is a table. We're going to fill this in for voltage, current, and resistance. So voltage is easy. Voltage starts with the letter V. So the symbol is V. Current is the one what's a little tricky. Current symbol is actually I. It's the one that's kind of tricky because they don't, it doesn't start with the same letter. Resistance is R. Okay, units for voltage is the volt. The unit of current is the amp. And the unit of resistance is the ohm. Okay. Those are a little tricky, but again, you get to use your notes on the test, so have it written down somewhere. The symbol for voltage is the V. The symbol for current is A. I know that's kind of confusing because it starts with the letter I, but the units are A. Resistance, you get to use the Greek letter omega. So if you're going to be in a fraternity or sorority when you get into college, there's one Greek letter that you actually know now. You're welcome. I'm teaching you guys things you can actually learn or actually use in the real world. Okay. Fill in the blank with either increases or decreases and how many times. All right. So for these, it says if you increase the voltage, the current blank. So look at this equation right here. So voltage and current, when we're talking about voltage and current, it's a direct relationship. Okay, they're across from each other. There's no fraction in this one. So as you increase the voltage, so if you put a 3 in front of the voltage here, I have to put a 3 in front of the if you put a 3 in front of the current, I have to put a 3 in front of the voltage. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So this is going to increase by 3 times. So again, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So with that in mind, if I decrease the voltage, it's going to decrease the current. We call that a direct relationship. Okay. When we talk about resistance and current, we're going to look at this equation here. So it's actually resistance equals voltage over current, like that. Okay. If I were to actually write this out as a fraction. So it says if you increase the resistance by 2 times, what happens to the current? Okay. Current and resistance. So like they're like if resistance is like in the numerator, current's in the denominator. They're like across from each other. So we call that an inverse relationship. So as one goes up, the other goes down. So if I'm increasing the resistance, if I'm increasing this one's going to go down. So if I increase the resistance, my current is going to decrease by 2 times because I'm increasing it by 2 times. And then if I decrease the resistance, again, these are inverse, so as one goes up, the other is going to go down. This is going to increase by 3 times. All right. That's probably one of the harder parts of the test is being able to see that, but you've got this in your notes now. You can use the study guide on your test, so if you're not really good at this, just have good notes, I guess is the suggestion I'm trying to say. All right, so we've got some math here. If I'm going too fast or if you have questions, just type them in the chat. A 9-volt battery is connected in series to a 90 ohm resistor. What is the current in the circuit? So I'm going to go back up to the equations. And remember, current is the letter I. So I want to find the equation that uses the I equals, that'll be that one right there. So I equals V divided by R. So I V divided by R. Okay, and then looking at the question, it tells us that we've got a resistance of 90 ohms and we have a voltage of 9 volts. So we're just going to plug these into our equation. So the voltage is 9 volts and the resistance is 90 ohms. 9 divided by 90 on your calculator, on your cell phone, is 0.1 amps. So on the test, that's all you have to do. Just plug it in. If you don't have a phone to use as a calculator, there is a website that I'm going to give you guys. Oops, ugh, there's that picture again. This is one that I use. It's called Desmos, D-E-S-M-O-S, and I'll put this in the post with the test. This is another website you can use on your computer. There's also the Windows calculator that's built in. This works too. I like to use, you can switch this to scientific mode on the app itself. Again, I just went to this, went to scientific. That'll get you the parentheses. I like to use Desmos though because you can see everything at once. So like if I'm typing in fraction or parentheses, oops, minus 2x, it shows me everything at once. Okay, so 9 divided by 90, there's the answer right there. All right, this is just my preference. You use whatever works best for you. Oops, go back. Okay, next question. It says a light bulb with a resistance of 120 ohms has a current passing through it of 0.0125 amps. What is the voltage of the battery that it's connected to? Caesar, the quiz won't be exactly the same as the review, but it's going to be similar. There are a couple questions where you have to think a little bit outside the box, but you get to use your notes and you can take it as many times as you want. It's the exact same quiz when you, or exact same test when you go to take it again. So you should get an A. If you don't get an A, talk to me, all right? And we'll figure out where you need some help, okay? So it says, what is the voltage? So if we go back up to our equations, the voltage equation is this one right here. V equals I times R. So let me go back down. V equals I times R. So the current in the question is right here. Remember, current has the units of amps, and then the resistance is 120 ohms. So the current is 0.0125 amps times the resistance of 120 ohms. So crunch that on your calculator. Why is it doing this to me? Great. Apparently I can't have that window and OneNote open at the same time. That's kind of silly. Alright, so when I do this on my calculator, I get 1.5 volts. Not too bad, right? I think the other equation, the force one, the one that we covered yesterday, I think that's harder than this. But if you're struggling with any of these, you know, remember, you get to use your notes on the test. If you really want help and you don't get it, you can always book an appointment to do some tutoring with me. Happy to walk you guys through it. So lots of resources there. And again, you get to take the test as many times as you want. Okay, let's talk about circuits. So this is more recent stuff that we covered. So it says draw a series circuit that contains a battery and 3 resistors. Okay, so when we draw the circuits, we're going to draw them with the symbols. So the symbol for a battery is this, and the symbol for a resistor is this squiggly line. Okay, so I want 3. Excuse me, I want 3 resistors And because it's a series circuit, we want one continuous loop. So it's going to look like that. Remember, with series circuits, the disadvantage is if one of these light bulbs goes out, so like if this light bulb were to go out, all of the light bulbs would stop working. It's just like the lazy river at a water park. You know, if there's a blockage in the lazy river, like right here, you can't go any further than that. Okay. In parallel circuits, the advantage is if one of the light bulbs goes out, if one of the paths is closed, you still have other paths to go around. Okay, which we'll talk about in a later question. Okay, number 6 says draw 2 resistors in parallel with each other and a battery. Okay, so we'll start with our battery, and then we have 2 resistors. Okay, so I'm going to connect my first resistor and then my second resistor just like that. That's parallel. Series is 1 loop, parallel is at least 2 loops. So again, if this resistor goes out, there's still another path that my current can go to the other side. So your house is wired in parallel. If one of the lights stops working in your house, remember there's still another path for the electricity to go. So it would be kind of silly if one light bulb burned out in your house, but you still, or if one light bulb burned out and all of the lights in your house went out, that would be pretty silly. All right, got a couple more questions here. These are a little trickier, so I'm glad you guys are here to watch this. Number 7 says, explain what would happen to bulbs A, B, C, D, and E, or A, B, C, and D when bulb E is removed. Be sure to use the words series and parallel in your explanation. So let's draw on the circuit what's going on. So I've got my battery right here. Okay, and it's saying if bulb E is removed. Okay, so bulb E is removed. And let me zoom in a little bit more here. You can see it a little better. Okay. So bulb E is removed. And what's going to happen? Well, first of all, my current is going to flow this way, right? So when it gets to this point and realizes that there's like a blockage, it can't go past bulb E. So bulb D is not going to work either because they're in series, all right? They're like in the same path, I guess is what I'm trying to say, all right? So the current can flow to bulb E, or bulb C, so bulb C will continue to work. Current can flow this way, so bulb B will continue to work, and then bulb A will continue to work. Right, so pretty much everything except for bulbs D and E will stop working. Okay, so if it helps when you're doing stuff like this, just sketch out what's happening, cross out the bulbs that aren't working. That one is, you know, pretty typical of what you might see on a test right there. Not too difficult, but if you just maybe draw on there what's happening, you can probably figure it out. Okay, so just remember, if they're in the same branch, like here, if bulb E stops working, nothing can get past bulb E into bulb D. So if I were to write out an explanation, I would say that, let's see, how did I write this out? I wrote, this is a parallel circuit, and we know in parallel circuits that you have multiple branches. So for A, B, and C, because they're on separate branches, those would continue to function. Bulbs D and E, they're in their own branch. They're in series. So because bulb E stops working, bulb D would stop working as well because it's further down the series. Okay. If that didn't make sense, let me know and I can try to explain it a different way, but just have that down. And all the solutions to these are posted on my website, so you know, you can reference those if I'm going too fast. Okay. 8 says, in order for a circuit to work, it must have a voltage source and a complete loop. Explain why each of these are needed for the circuit to function. All right, so voltage source. Voltage source is like your battery. All right, so like why does a flashlight need a battery to work? Remember, the voltage is like the pressure. It's like what pushes the electrons down the circuit. So what I would say is this is the voltage is the pressure or the force that moves electrons. All right, and then a complete loop. So for a complete loop, you think about like the lazy river at a water park. You know, you've got to have that complete loop. It would be pretty lame if you didn't go in that complete loop, if you didn't have a complete loop for everything to flow through. So circuits kind of work the same way. Now, I'm going to throw some terms out there and just put these in your notes so you've got them. Okay? So on a battery, you've got a positive end and you have a negative end. All right? Current has to go from the positive end to the negative end. Okay? We call those the high potential and the low potential. Right? So you need to have a complete loop because current must flow. No, they're all multiple choice. From high to low potential. Okay. A really good analogy for this is like water flowing down a hill. So water starts at the high potential, it starts at the high end of the hill, and it flows to the low end of the hill. If you had something like this, where it was just flat, and there was no difference in potential, there's nowhere really for the water to go. It's not going to flow anywhere if it's flat. Okay, like rivers, like even probably in your backyard, if you look, your backyard probably has a little bit of a slope to it so the water can flow. Your street, let me draw this. So your street has like a curve to it like this, all right? It's not that extreme, but if you look at your street, it's probably got a little bit of a curve to it, and that's so the water will flow off and go into the storm gutters. So electricity kind of does the same thing, right? You have to have a high potential and a low potential so for the current to flow. So that's going from positive to negative. And that's pretty much it. You guys have any questions about anything I went through today on the second review? You guys are going to all ace this test tomorrow. I can't wait to get that in there. If you guys have questions, type them in the chat. Got a couple minutes here before I switch gears and start talking about chemistry. You guys are probably all going to want to rush out of here when I start talking about chemistry, right? Anybody want to tell me what they're doing later today? Anything exciting going on? Nothing. I hear crickets chirping. My cats are completely oblivious to what's going on in the real world right now. I've got a big window in my office and they're just staring out there. They have no idea what's going on right now. I wish I was a cat. It's going to be all right. Don't you guys worry. We're going to get through this together. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions or you don't want to tell me anything, feels like it's regular class. Like you guys would be, you have your phones out and I just see this. Just like regular class. Is it true they changed grading? What do you mean by that? While she's typing her response, I just want to remind you again, tomorrow is Quarantine Made Me Day. So post a picture of what you guys are doing while you've been at home. And be sure to tag me at Zorn Science so I can see what you guys have been up to. I have a cool video. Let's see. And do you think we'll go back? Because I don't think we'll go back the 8th. Okay. There is supposed to be a briefing by the governor. Governor Pritzker is supposed to get on TV at 2:30 to update everybody on what's going on. I believe that he's going to extend the quarantine until April 30th. That's what all of us teachers think is going to happen. I know as much as you guys do right now. Remember the president over the weekend got on TV and he said he was encouraging everybody to maintain social distancing until the end of April. So it sounds like our state is going to kind of do the same thing. Based on everything else that's going on in the world, especially in New York, I think that's probably a good move, as much as it stinks being at home. I really do miss seeing you guys every day. Like, really, truly mean that. You know, I teach because of you guys. I mean, seriously. You know, it's you seeing you guys is like the best part of my day with school. So doing this is not quite the same. So I'm going to be really disappointed. I'm going to be really disappointed if that's the case. All right, Dejane says that the grades we had on the 16th are the lowest that we can have in class for the rest of the year. I don't have a good answer for that, honestly. There has been a lot of there have been a lot of things tossed out to us teachers. There's a lot of confusion because we don't know if we're going to go back to school. Because like let's say we went back at the end of April. So let's say today the governor extends the deadline until the 30th. Let's say he extends the deadline to the 30th, and then we end up going back for the rest of May. Like if we're not really doing much with the e-learning, but then we go back to school, like how are the grades going to go? So I don't think there's a definite answer to that right now. You know, we've been told to still grade and give feedback and everything. Um, so I honestly, I don't have a better answer for you right now because we're still trying to figure things out. I think they might be waiting until Governor Pritzker gives his press briefing today to make a call. But it's about as much as I know right now. I know there's been a lot of chatter about stuff like that, but you know, like I said, I really don't have a good answer for you right now. Yeah, and it certainly wouldn't be fair to the kids that are still doing their work. You know, if that your grade was kind of like locked in per se. Um, so I don't know, but as soon as I find anything else out, I will definitely let you guys know. And you know, if you're see again, I don't know about finals. You know, that's all kind of up in the air because again, we might go back at the end of April, and we would normally have finals at the end of the year. So I honestly don't know, but I think all of the teachers and everybody at the school, I think our number one concern right now is your well-being. We want to make sure that you guys are all okay. You know, we can't see you guys, and we all care about you guys a lot. We want to make sure that you guys are okay. So, you know, we're still kind of having school, but we want you guys to focus on yourselves and your well-being. So do what you guys need to do. I mean, yes, school is important because, especially for those of you that are going to be moving on to especially those of you that are moving on to chemistry and other stuff in college, it's good to get this last bit of stuff in, but don't make it like a priority. You know, there are definitely more important things going on in the world right now. So I really appreciate those of you that have tried to keep up with everything. But you know, if something happens where you're not able to log in or anything, or you know, God forbid somebody gets sick in your house, you've got to focus on that. So take care of yourselves. And you know, school is important, but it shouldn't be like the most important thing going on right now. All right, and I think all of the teachers would probably agree with me right now. So that's about all I know. So I'm gonna try to put together a Zoom meeting where we can all see each other, maybe once a week. I'll do one for physics and one for chemistry. But I'm gonna continue to do these live streams. It seems like I'm getting at least you know a couple of you guys to come in, which I appreciate. So I'm going to go ahead and switch gears to chemistry for Denasia. Anybody else here from my chemistry classes? You guys are welcome to stick around if you're physics people. You will see some of the stuff next year for sure, but I want to give them an opportunity to go through the material that we're covering. So, Denasia, I know you're here. Is there anybody else in the live stream right now from chemistry? So for anybody that's just joining me, type in the chat what you guys are up to stay active at home. I was telling my physics group that we've been going on a lot of walks. We live in kind of a secluded area where I tell everybody we live in the woods, and that's honestly the truth. I'm looking out a window right now, and there's trees out there just all around. So we live on kind of like a secluded street where there aren't a lot of people. So we've been taking our dogs out for walks a lot. I don't know how people are doing it in more crowded areas where you've got a lot of people around. If you guys are still going out for walks or what you're doing, but that, you know, 20, 30-minute walk that we managed to get just being outside just makes me feel like a normal person again. So hopefully you guys are doing something like that to stay active other than just watching Netflix. If you are watching Netflix, I highly recommend watching that the Tiger King documentary. Guy is so entertaining. It's the guy's like it's like a terrible car accident. I was trying to make the analogy before. He's so entertaining, and it's just awful, but you just have to watch. It's only 7 episodes. Caesar just went to Walmart. How is Walmart, Caesar? I honestly haven't left my house for anything in like 2 weeks. We've ordered groceries in. We've had them delivered. It's only like $5 to five or $10, I think, to get the groceries delivered. Um, I can't imagine having to go to the grocery store right now. There's so much we don't know about how things are transmitted. But everybody keeps saying, don't worry about masks or anything. Just as long as you're keeping your distance, you're okay. I went to Jewel like one of those last days that we had right before everything kind of hit, and it was crazy there. People were just grabbing things, and it was nuts. So hopefully it's not like that anymore. All right. Anybody else want to chime in what they're doing to stay active? Anybody going on walks, lifting weights? Look at this. Look at these guns right here. Oh, you can't see that one. Yeah, look at that. Bench like my coffee cup. That's about it. I can just lift my coffee cup up every day. It's my exercise. It's not even coffee, it's water. All right, so let's get started. So Virtual Spirit Week. Today is Crazy Hair Day. And let me pull this picture back up. Twitter. I posted this picture earlier. Threw my Taekwondo uniform on to do a little practice and had a wig on that I found in the basement that smelled moldy. So I don't know if I'm going to put it back in the basement or if I'm just going to throw it away because it did not smell very good. And yeah, so there you go. I wish I had one that was blue and gold, but I had to settle for red. It was empty, but everyone has like no kids. That's good. Yeah, I was kind of worried about that. People were dragging their kids into Walmart or not. All right. So yeah, there's the schedule for the rest of the week. Tomorrow is Quarantine Made Me Day, so post a picture or something of what you've been doing, and be sure to tag me. You can also just email me a picture if you want, and let me know what you guys are up to. And I've already recorded my video for tomorrow, so it's pretty cool. You should jump in and see what I got for tomorrow. Trying to do something every day. Now Thursday is a big day. Thursday is TikTok Challenge Day, so be sure to tag me with a challenge or copy or give me like a TikTok dance or something, and I will bust it out. My daughter, I kid you not, my daughter has been doing the Renegade dance, and she's been trying to teach it to me. So I'm getting pretty good. So I'm looking for an opportunity to show off my skills. So be sure to tag me in your video. All right, for chemistry, here's the plan. And I think I sent this out to you guys, or no, this is in tomorrow's video, so you're getting a little preview. So yesterday we did interpreting heating and cooling curves. Today the lesson was on drawing heating and cooling curves. And then all we're doing for the rest of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, is I'm going to give you those 3 days to kind of get yourselves caught up. So for those of you that didn't finish the calorimetry lab, it gives you an opportunity to work on that. I only had a couple people, and Denasia, you were one of them. I only had a couple people do the lab. So I want to give those people an opportunity to get caught up. We only had, that first week was pretty crazy, so I want to give everybody an opportunity to get that done. All right, I'm not going to penalize anybody for not getting it done when they were supposed to the first time. And then you also have that time to complete the lessons from Monday and Tuesday this week. All right. So if you're already done with everything, great. You can focus on your other classes or focus on catching yourselves up on TV. I will still be posting stuff every day. It is Spirit Week, so I'll still be posting videos, or not videos, but pictures of me doing the Spirit Day stuff, and I'll still be doing the live stream. So even though I don't have new stuff on those days, still come in and check in with everything. So that's the plan for the rest of the week. So let's jump into what we're doing today. So we've been working on heating and cooling curves. This is the video, or this is the diagram that I showed you guys yesterday of a heating curve. So this is basically water going from ice to water vapor. So down here we've got solid water, which is ice. And at 0 degrees Celsius, that solid transitions to a liquid. So down here where the plateau is, that's where we say it's melting. Going the other way, going from a liquid to a solid, is freezing. All right. And then once it's in a liquid form at 100 degrees is where water will start to boil. So this, again, plateau is the transition in state. So we go from liquid to gas at 100 degrees. Also, if you have gas, if you have water vapor, at 100 degrees is when that water vapor starts to condense back down to liquid. So just being able to understand these graphs is important, all right, for what we're doing. Let's go through the steps. Today, we're just going to be drawing these curves. So let's go through the steps. First step in creating these diagrams is to label the axes. Label the x and y axis with the appropriate variable. Your y-axis is always going to be temperature, and your x-axis is always going to be reaction progress or time, just like that. Okay, units. Temperature, it's going to be degrees Celsius, and then for reaction progress, it's going to be time. If you use joules on the x-axis, it doesn't matter which, they're interchangeable. If you use joules on the x-axis, the units are going to be, sorry, I just gave the answer. If you use the energy, the units are going to be joules. Okay. Your y-axis has to have an appropriate scale. This is probably the hardest part of doing these graphs, is putting a scale in. Right? So you want to make sure when you're putting your scale in that you leave enough space below the melting point and above the boiling point on a heating curve, and it's flipped if you're doing a cooling curve. So I'm going to go through an example. The governor just gave a statement. Ooh, let's see. Governor. It hasn't updated on the news yet. What did it say? We stuck inside until the 30th. No school until the end of April. I don't know if that's good news or bad news. All right. And to continue e-learning. Yeah, okay. We kind of saw that coming. All right, so let's do an example here. All right. In OneNote, if you want to do this with me, in OneNote, I have instructions. I tried to do it like this. I tried to give you the page of the instructions, and then down below it, I gave you a blank graph to work with. All right. So let me see here. I think what I can do is pull both up at the same time. Just give me a second here. This is drawing curves. All right, I might have to play around with the windows to get this to all fit. All right. If you're watching this on your phone, it might be kind of small, but I'll do my best here. Okay. So, and let me try to zoom in a little bit here. All right. Hopefully you can read that. Let me switch over. All right. So, on these graphs. Now, let me just say this really quick. I believe, this is just me guessing here, I believe on the test where this is going to be multiple choice, but I'm not 100% sure. The quiz that I gave you today for this is multiple choice, and I tried to make the questions like what I thought would be reasonable. So I don't know that you're actually going to be drawing these, but if you know how to draw them, you can totally answer multiple choice questions about them. Right? But I'm not sure. Again, there's a lot that's kind of up in the air right now. So let's go through this. All right. So the first thing it tells us to do is it wants us to start the y-axis at negative 20 degrees, and it wants us to end it at 120 degrees. Mark Maxwell. Who's Mark Maxwell? So I'm going to count how many boxes we've got here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so there's 25 boxes, and let's see, if I went by 20s, 20 degrees, so like each line was 20 degrees. I would need 5, 6, I would need 6 boxes, so every 4 boxes, I think, would be a mark. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll walk you through what I just did in my head in a second here. Let me draw it out. Okay. So, what I did is I counted how many boxes there were. There's 25 boxes. So 25 boxes. And you can't see that. Okay, so 25 total boxes. And just looking at the numbers on the directions here, I've got negative 120, 20, 100, 0. So just looking at those, I thought like going by 20s might be a good idea. Because if you look, the boiling point is at 100, which is a multiple of 20. 0, all right. So 20 I thought might be a good number to go by. Like if this was like 40 and something, I might have gone by a different number, but just kind of looked at it and looked like 20 would be a good number to kind of divide them by. There isn't, I guess, the boiling point and freezing point, you want to make sure that those are going to be on a line. All right, you don't want your boiling point or melting point to be like between your marks. Okay, so let's label these. So the bottom one is going to be negative 20. This would be 0 if I'm going by 20s, and then 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Oh, I messed up because I should have one more mark here. Did I miscount? 1, 2. Oh, I forgot 0. That's why. All right, let me go back. I forgot to count for the 0. So there should be one more mark. So let me go by 3s. If you're doing your graph and you make a mistake like this, just go back and change the interval. So let me go by 3s. 1, 2, 3. I don't know if you guys can hear my son screaming upstairs. He's playing Fortnite. I apologize for that. So negative 20, 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and then 120. So I have like one extra mark here, 1, 2, 3, at 140. That's okay. In the directions here, it just wants to make sure that we have enough room. So I could have left it blank if I wanted, and that would have been fine too. All right. So we want to make sure we have the melting point and boiling point on our graph. That's where you should start first. So the freezing point, I said melting point and boiling point, freezing point and boiling point. So basically the other 2 points here. Right? So let's put a dashed line across the graph at 0. And let's do the other one at 100. Okay. Now, it tells us in the question that it's a heating curve. So heating curves, you start as a solid. Cooling curves, you start as a gas. When we add heat to a solid, like think about an ice cube, we add heat to an ice cube, it turns into water, and then it turns into a gas. Cooling curve, you start as a gas, and as you cool it, what is my cat doing? As you cool it, it turns into a solid, it condenses, and then it turns, I don't know what my cat is doing over there. It's making a lot of noise. I need to put my cats don't understand that Livestream is, what are you doing? Anyway, all right, let's draw on our lines. So I'm going to put my line here. Let's do it like this. Remember, you want to leave enough space where you're going to be able to connect the solid lines with a diagonal. So we're starting here at a negative 20, and then I'm going to connect to my flat line here. And then I'm going to draw another diagonal line up here, and then one more diagonal up. Okay? You're just kind of sketching it. All right. So it says label the curve where the substance is solid, liquid, and gas. This is a heating curve, and I already said that we are going to start as a solid, so think ice, and then it becomes a liquid, and then a gas. And you know what? I forgot to label my axes, so let's call this energy. And this is going to be joules, and then the y-axis will be temperature. I'm going to put it up here. I have to abbreviate, I don't have a lot of room here. Temperature is going to be degrees Celsius. Got cut off. Okay. Label the following locations. So point A, where the substance is 100% solid at negative 20 degrees. So that'll be A there. Point B is the substance is 100% solid at 0 degrees. So I'm basically just going to put the letters where it tells me to, based on the temperature. So that's C, D, E, and then where's 120 right there, F. Okay, so all I did was I looked at the information that's here and looked at the temperatures and then just basically put the dot where the temperature was. Okay. All right. On your table, to the side of the curve, write the answers to the following. So these are actually down below. These are these questions down here. All right, so the melting point. So remember, the melting point is when you go from solid to liquid. Think about ice melting into water. So here's our ice. It's ice at that point right there, and it turns into a liquid at 0 degrees. That flat line, that plateau, is a phase change where we're going from one state to another. So at 0 degrees Celsius. Condensation point is when you go from gas to a liquid. So we are a gas up here. We're a liquid right here. So the condensation point is where we're changing states from gas to a liquid. So I'm just going to follow this line right here over, and that is at 100 degrees. All right. Which line segment shows a phase change where both solids and liquids exist? So going over to my curve here, solid and liquid are these two spots right here. So if you look from B to C on my graph here is where they're changing from solid to liquid or liquid to solid. So that's B to C. All right, and which line segment shows a phase change where both liquids and gases exist? So gas is up here and liquid is here. So from D to E is where that phase change is going to be occurring. All right, at which point does the liquid phase begin to increase in temperature? So I'm liquid from here to here, so from C to D, but if you look at point C, that's where I'm all liquid, and then from C up, my liquid begins to increase in temperature. All right, at which point does the gas phase begin to increase in temperature? Same kind of thing. Let's look at the graph. I guess I can minimize this. So we're in the gas phase here, and point E is where we've switched over from liquid to gas, and now we're going to start climbing up. So point E is going to be where we begin to increase in temperature in the gas phase. All right, number 7. Which line segments are their phase changes? Include all that apply. So any plateau, any flat part on the graph is where we have a phase change. So that'll be B to C and D to E. All right. During which line segments are there increases in kinetic energy? Okay. Increases in kinetic energy is where the temperature changes. Okay. So any diagonal on the graph is going to be a change in kinetic energy because the temperature is changing there. So we've got anywhere on the graph in yellow. So A to B, C to D, and E to F. Those 3 spots right there. So A to B, C to D, and E to F. That's it. So what I would suggest on these is just being able to understand that diagonals are temperature changes, plateaus are phase changes. If it's a heating curve, let me write this off to the side. Heating, oops, that's not an H. Heating goes from solid to liquid to gas. Cooling curves is the order but in reverse. So it's going to go gas to liquid to solid. And honestly, the best way to think about this is to think about water. So when you're heating up water, you start as a solid and it turns into a liquid. And then if you keep heating it, it'll evaporate and turn into water vapor. When you cool it, you've got water vapor, it turns into a liquid, and then the cooler it becomes, it eventually becomes a solid. Okay? So I don't know if that helps or not, or just think like if you cool water like a lot, where does it end up? Like if you keep cooling and keep cooling, it eventually becomes a solid. So maybe that will help. So cooling, oops, I did that backwards. Cooling, the coolest it becomes a solid, and if you're heating, if you keep heating water, it'll eventually become a gas. So I don't know if that helps or not. There you go. So know that, and that's basically it. That's all you need to know with these graphs. Okay. So like I said, on a test, I would just basically be asking you questions about these graphs. Okay. I don't think that I'm going to have you draw it, but I don't know. I'm supposed to be meeting with the other chemistry teachers later this week. All right. But our goal, if you missed it earlier, our goal is to make sure that you guys are okay. We're not trying to overload you with school stuff. We get that you guys are going through a lot right now, so we want to make sure that this is all manageable. We're not overloading you with anything. So we're doing our best to try to cut things down and make it real for you guys. Not real, but doable for you. All right. Any questions on those? Denasia, anybody that's still listening? Looks like I have 2 of you in here. 2 of you that are left. Not surprised. Chemistry is not usually anybody's most favorite class in the whole wide world. I'm not a chemistry major, but there are definitely some cool things that we do in chemistry. So any questions? Anybody that's still watching? Well, you guys are chiming in. I'm going to go back and check the news and see if there's an update. Oh, here it is. Oh, expected to. There's no update on this. It's fantastic. Maybe the briefing's still going on right now. All right. Well, if you guys don't have any questions or if you're not listening, just want to remind you tomorrow is Quarantine Made Me Day. So post a picture of you doing something that is fun over break. We're not really on break, are we? So post a picture of something that you're doing. Don't forget Thursday is TikTok Challenge Day. So be sure to challenge me with some fun. You have to do it first, though, okay? You can't just post a crazy video and expect me to do it. You have to do the challenge first. So if it's a TikTok video, I want to see you try it first, and then I'll try it, okay? All right. Well, that's all I had for today. I haven't seen anybody else type anything in the chat, so I'm guessing nobody's watching me right now, which is fine. I can talk. I do have my cat here. My cat is, like, look at this. Cat just scratched me. It's fantastic. Cat did not like being picked up. All right, I'm gonna maybe put the cat in a different room next time. All right. So yep. All right. Well, I'm gonna sign off. I will see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget tomorrow I'm back at the normal time. I just had to move it today because of a meeting. So